The attorney who just defeated Donald Trump to the tune of $83.3 million is now speaking out about what happened behind the scenes, including a moment that sent the former president into a fit of rage. Roberta Kaplan was representing E. Jean Carroll in her defamation trial that ended last Friday. And during the lead up to that trial, Trump sat with her legal team for a deposition at Mar-a-Lago. I'll let Kaplan explain what happened when it came time for lunch.
And you could kind of see the wheels spinning in his brain. You could really almost see it. And he said, well, you're here at Mar-a-Lago. What do you think you're going to do for lunch? Where are you going to get lunch? And so I said to him, well, I raised this question with your attorneys yesterday, sir, and they graciously offered to provide us with lunch. At which point there was a huge pile of documents, exhibits sitting in front of him, and he took the pile and he just threw it across the table.
That was on the podcast. George Conway explains it all, and I'm joined now by George Conway, so please explain it all for us.
Well, I can't really explain it because I've never heard of anything like that before. It is a very common practice that when you are hosting a deposition, your counsel provides lunch for everyone else, and they provide lunch usually in a separate conference room so that both sides can have confidential conversations. And in this particular instance, the deposition was held at Mar-a-Lago for Donald Trump's convenience. So it would have been perfectly understandable, and it was perfectly understandable, that Alina Habba and the team of lawyers representing Trump ordered lunch for their adversaries. This same courtesy would be extended if the shoe were on the other foot. And he went bananas because of that, and he started screaming, as Robbie Kaplan describes. He was screaming at Alina Habba. Tough client there.
There was this other moment as I was listening to this whole conversation, and it's obviously not just getting my attention, but also everyone else's. I want people to just listen to that.
We come in the room and I say, I'm done asking questions, and immediately I hear from the other side, off the record, off the record, off the record. So they must have planned it. And he looks at me from across the table and he says, see you next Tuesday. You could tell it was like a kind of a joke, again, like teenage boys would come up with.
Yeah, no, that is a teenage boy level joke.
Okay, George, this is cable, but
yeah, I'm not going to spell it out.
But I mean, what did you think when you were sitting there listening to that?
I mean, it's just appalling. I mean, he's a pig, and the fact that he was president of the United States makes it all the more distressing. I mean, it was misogynistic. I mean, to call a woman that to her face and trying to be cute about it, I mean, it was just disgraceful and the kind of indecent conduct that you wouldn't expect in any adult. I mean, it was just, I wouldn't even say it was teenage boy level conduct. It was just utterly, utterly childish. And it's not that surprising that Trump does this. I mean, we've seen him do all sorts of crude things over time, and it brought to mind this incident that occurred in the Roosevelt Room, I think it was, in the fall of 2019, where Donald Trump was congratulating a pair of female astronauts who had conducted an EVA, a spacewalk outside the space shuttle, and it was the first all-female EVA. And Trump made a mistake. He said, oh, this is the first time a woman's ever been outside the space shuttle. And then the female astronaut, gently corrected him, and he clearly was taken aback. It was a very gentle, very respectful correction, and he starts to touch his forehead as if to scratch an itch, but he used his middle finger. And there was this huge controversy. Was he really giving the finger to these astronauts? And people gave him the benefit of the doubt, but I find it hard to give him the benefit of the doubt after seeing all of this conduct.